So, The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4, released last night on HBO Max, and yeah, we're just rolling on with the review of the show. I would say that this one added things that we desperately needed, and also had a lot of stuff that I thought was really great, and also had two things that I probably have the most problem with of the show so far. So I don't know where to put this, if I think that this is probably the weakest episode of the bunch, because it had some of the best elements, but I think it had two of the biggest negatives going into the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm not going to stand around here and yank your chain any longer than we need to. Let's just go ahead and get right back into the episode, starting off with the said beginning. So I like to preface with some, like, we're finding new numbers when it comes to the Last of Us TV show. And we're finding out that the Rotten Tomatoes have dipped significantly. That could easily be people who are haven't seen the show or haven't played the game and didn't know what was coming and are actually angry, or it was, you know, people who've seen the game and are still angry about the game and are review bombing it, or whatever it is, or if they are genuine, actual concerns. But we also do know that the ratings for the show after Pedro Pascal left the show and Joel's death, they've lost about 20% of their viewers, which are either A, they're viewers that are upset about the loss in the story direction, or B, it was Pedro Pascal fans who are upset that he left the show. In either, you can expect to happen. I'm sure HBO and Naughty Dog were probably not hoping that there was going to be a drop-off based on narrative reasons, but they could have probably expected that Pedro Pascal leaving the show was going to cause an effect as far as ratings-wise. So I don't know if they're going to be exactly surprised at the negative, at the loss of viewership and the negative Rotten Tomato score. I don't think that that's the case. However, I've been pretty open about that. I felt like they're doing a better job here than they are in the game. However, the story is on a fundamental level, it's an issue. And even though I think they're doing better, and I think it's making for a better experience, I still there's still issues of why they shouldn't gone this route. But we're too far in to change course now, so let's get back into it. I believe he started off the episode with a little more backstory on Isaac and him joining the WLF and the Resistance and leaving FEDRA with a little cameo from Josh Peck. Now Jeffrey Wright plays his video game counterparts in the show, and Jeffrey Wright is an absolute genius of an actor, so glad to see that he's in this. I'm 95% sure he plays Isaac in the game. But it seems like they're going to be giving more stuff to do for Isaac here and kind of fleshing out his character and giving him more to act on, which if you're going to use Jeffrey Wright, you absolutely go that route. So again, it's just a healthy addition from the game to the show, and even if it wasn't good, you could still say they still should have added that into the show. Just giving him more to do and more of the WLF to do. And I'll just kind of go right into his two scenes that he had in here. One was him joining FEDRA. Josh Peck made a little cameo. Or when Isaac left FEDRA to join the WLF, he killed a bunch of FEDRA members by throwing grenades in the car. Fantastic. And then he had a really great interrogation scene with a Scar who did not bend and break, and I thought it was a really great scene. I thought both scenes that he was in were fantastic and much needed additions, and I'm glad that they had them. I just realized I'm wearing shorts that I don't particularly care for. They're a little lower and baggier than I would like, a little tighter in the waist than I would like. Don't worry about it. But yeah, besides that, Jeffrey Wright, the two scenes, both of them good additions. You slightly see him interrogate a Scar, I guess, in the game. But not, he's not nearly as fleshed out in the game as he is here, because I don't think he was that big of a part of it, but it seems like he's going to have a bigger role in the show, which he should. And he also has a partner played by a really great actress that I can't remember her name, but she's fantastic. She's in the TED show. She's in a bunch of other stuff, but it seems like they're going to be kind of co-commanding the WLF. which is great. So yeah, those two scenes, good additions. But most of the episode is led with back with Dina and Ellie. So we'll kind of continue on from there. But I do want to make a side note that I do have a little concern. We haven't seen Abby in quite some time. So my fear is that they're going the route where we're going to follow Ellie and Dina the entire time, and then season 3 they're going to switch over and we're going to follow Abby for most of season 3. And that would be a catastrophic mistake. So I'm hoping that they do not go that route, but they also have the big Lev storyline and everything. But I'm pretty sure Lev got casted already, so like I'd imagine that they have some of that in here, but we're running out of episodes to do it. There's only 3 episodes left in the season. There's only 7 total, so I think that the route that they were going, where they were kind of showing more of Abby instead of just focusing all on Ellie and Dina, I would kind of flip back and forth. But I understand there's a whole lot to cover here with Ellie and Dina, because I think that they're trying to get to the FEDRA part. But yeah, I think when it comes to Ellie and Dina's side of the story, some things that they added that the Take On Me cover, this is the episode with the guitar. I thought Bella Ramsey did a great part there. Bella Ramsey and Isabel Merced's chemistry in the show is far better than the game. However, I will say that you're starting to kind of miss, that Joel thing, at least to me, that dynamic, which is what made the thing so special in the first place. But still, I have to really applaud Isabella Merced's acting. I mean, she has been a standout since the beginning of the show and has continued to be, and she's even more of a standout in this episode, especially as we get to one of the last scenes of the episode. So I really like the chemistry between Bella Ramsey and Isabella Merced as Ellie and Dina, and I think it's so far it's portraying a lot better now than it is in the game. What this episode does add is some much needed action. Season 1 lacked a fair amount of action because they wanted to focus on the drama, which, cool, fine, but I feel like violence is a big part of Season 2, and I feel like we're lacking that a little bit, but we're starting to get into the parts where there are more action scenes and there are more violence, and they end up going to the TV tower and seeing what the Scars did to the WFLF members there, and then a group of men came in, and while Ellie and Dina were there, and this is where we get into my first big criticism of the show so far, at least in this episode. My one big criticism, I have 2 big criticisms, but one out of the 2 of this episode was the action scene when Ellie versus the grown man finally took place. Wasn't really believable. I know there's been a lot of criticisms about how it's unbelievable for a 100-pound girl soaking wet to take down a grown man, an army of grown men in The Last of Us 2. This was even in the game, but it's not real. It's fake mediums and fake media, so you kind of have to subvert your expectations, especially when you're living in a world of a zombie apocalypse. My issue is not it's not believable that Ellie couldn't take down Dina, or not Dina, Jesus. It's not believable that Ellie couldn't take down a grown man. It's unbelievable to me because in the game, yes, you're playing as Ellie, and you have the same emotions as Ellie, and you have this rage and hate inside of you, so you feel like you are controlling Ellie to kill all these men. And Ellie had some sort of viciousness about her when it came to stabbing and cutting and gashing and scratching and crawling for every moment, which brings forth a narrative issue here. I like how in the earlier part of the season you get Ellie kind of training and learning jujitsu and ground game and fighting, but it's the one thing that I'm missing from the Ellie of the game that isn't here, is that I wish Bella Ramsey and the writing and the path that they went would bring forth some more of that absolute raw hatred from Ellie. Ellie is supposed to be a beacon of light and passion and innocence and kindness. And that's very much what she is in the first game, and it was Joel's death that turned her to, being vicious and being needing to kill as many people as she could in Seattle. And the reason why it was believable of her to do that is because you also have the same emotions that she does, and you're kind of, and it's just, it's a little more believable if you see it, how bad in her face she really wants it. But it's not here as much in the game because the Ellie in the show is written a little differently than the Ellie in the game. The Ellie in the show is a little more, I don't want to say capable right off the bat, but it's the word I'm looking for. Maybe it is capable. I don't know. What I'm just saying is that I can buy into, these two young teenage girls killing this. I can subvert my expectation of them killing people and getting away from the army. But I wish that they would write into Bella Ramsey's character a little bit more the desire and the absolute need for Ellie to do this, to go down this path. And we should know that it's the wrong path to go down, but we have the same emotions that she does. She is like frothing at the mouth to kill people in the game because of the hate that she has. I wish we got more of that here, because then I could buy into her, I wish they wouldn't do the judo throw thing. I wish she would just jump on that guy's back and stab him in the face 19 times. I really want that. I want them to bring more of that in. That's one big criticism that I have thus far, is I just wish they would write it so Ellie is a little more fueled by this hatred inside of her, to be as vicious, to jump on somebody's back and stab them and fucking gouge their eyes out, and make it believable that a 100-pound teenage girl could rip apart a grown man's face. Show me that. So yeah, that's my one big criticism of part of that. But then they go into the subway station into an unbelievable scene with the infected of Dina and Ellie crawling through the train. Great stuff all around. The infected looked great. The setting was great. It was a very, very, very tense scene. Loved all of that. The action there was fantastic. And then you have Ellie getting bit by the infected to protect Dina, and then they run to the movie theater thing, and then you get the best scene in the show thus far, in my opinion, and that is all credited to the acting of Bella Ramsey and Isabella Merced. And I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. So far, she's impressed me the most of this show. She is phenomenal, fantastic actress. And you have Isabella Merced, her facial expressions and acting of her just distraught and shattered by the fact that she might have to shoot Ellie here, and Ellie trying to really convince her. The acting of these two is phenomenal. It's great. Especially in Isabella Merced's face, the pain in her, you can see it, and it's fantastic. But then it goes into my biggest criticism of the show so far that I'm not really insane about. Ellie says, "Let me go sit on this couch. I'm going to fall asleep. Keep the gun on me. And when I wake up, I'm going to be just as I am now. I'm not going to be infected." And she does that. And then Ellie shows Dina the bite. Dina, distressed, shattered, terrified, gets up with the gun, gets closer, says, "Ellie," she's terrified for her life and is terrified that she's going to have to shoot Ellie here, still unsure. And then says to Ellie, "I'm pregnant." And then they have a sex scene right there. Kind of weird. I don't, maybe that's just me. I understand, they find love in that moment. And that's great. I like how they pushed it later on to doing it now. But I don't know. You think she's gonna die, and then you tell her you're pregnant, and then you immediately start banging on a floor of a church after you almost just died. And I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. And they had Dina's explanation of well, I thought my future was going to be taken away. They changed it to where Ellie is okay with Dina being pregnant in this situation. I like how they written how Dina didn't. In the game, it kind of you could maybe think that Dina was pregnant, knew that she was pregnant going to Seattle. In this, she finds out later that she was pregnant. So, Ellie has a little less to be pissed about, which I like. But yeah, I thought the sex scenes just at an awkward time for me. Like, I understand they find love in that moment, and I'm cool with it, but wouldn't it make more sense for Dina to get up close to Ellie, realize that she's telling the truth, drop the lantern, drop the gun, kiss Ellie, because she was so afraid of losing her, and just sob uncontrollably as Ellie holds Dina in her arms, realizing, oh my god, Dina loves me, and then they fall asleep and wake up the next morning and have a conversation about it, and maybe Dina tells Ellie then. That's probably the route that I want to go about it. I don't know, like, maybe I'm nitpicking. I just think, like, almost dying to traumatized to emotionally scarred to, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. What? Banging. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's just, I mean, there's a whole lot of shifts there that, maybe you could have, like, put it in a different place, but I guess where would you put it later in the story? I don't know. And then, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's so hard to, like, find out where you're going to pop the I'm pregnant storyline, but I probably would have gone the route of, like, they hold each other, because that was such an intense, traumatic scene. Yeah, I don't know, but moving on, the morning scene was all cool. Again, that chemistry between them is great. They are both really great actors. So I thought that was good. But yeah, I don't know. I probably, like, I feel like there was a better. It was just whenever the sex scene started happening, I was like, God, that was a little awkward. I felt like that could have been. That was very boat scene sudden for me. And I don't know if I would go that route, but whatever. Oh my god, I think I just broke my fucking toe. Jesus. So yeah, I'm a nitpick maybe. But then you get, like, the scene where they hear over the radio that they're under attack. They go upstairs, see gunfire and explosions out in the distance. Is it the Scars? I don't know. Is it Tommy? I don't know. But one thing that we haven't really gotten so far is we don't know if Tommy's here. Because in the game, he's the first one to come, and now he hasn't really been mentioned. So we don't know if he's here. So yeah, it seems like Dina will not be staying at the movie theater. Dina will be going with Ellie to the gunfire. And I believe the next episode will be the Nora episode. With the spores and yeah. So overall, I would say it's still so far so good. I don't know if this is, like, the weakest episode yet, but the highlights for me was the emotional scene in the theater, before the awkward sex scene, and then the scene in the subway. I thought was great too, and maybe the interrogation scene. The interrogation scene was cool too. But yeah, I still think they're handling this better than the game. I feel like the changes so far, some of them kind of, like, a little iffy on, but some of them I think are so far serving to be a better story. But yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. We got a big video coming on Friday this week. And then, like I said, a big video next week. Sorry we didn't get anything out. Last week was kind of spotty. I recorded one video, found out I recorded in slow motion, so that sucked. But hopefully that isn't an issue anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna go edit this up, put it up, continue editing the video that comes out this week. Follow our social media accounts. They were, plastered on here, but also in the description below. We're a little more active on the social media side of things now. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, adios, and bye-bye.